I don't know how they fuck up your sauce, bro. How they fuck up your pizza. Do you think maybe this is a COVID-related problem?
Could be, yeah. They could be. First of all, I'm sure they're like easy as fuck. I bet so many people are ordering pizza. Garlic sauce tastes crazy.
Did it taste good? Does the garlic sauce taste good, at least?
Yeah, the garlic sauce tastes great. It's always great. Which is why I don't care if, like, I don't care if somebody spit on it, as long as they aren't sick.
Interesting. I think I would care if someone spit in my garlic sauce, even if they weren't sick.
If they're not sick, I don't care. Yeah, I'm not gonna know. Nothing's gonna happen. But if they're sick,
but what if I do? But I'm not. I don't want to say I'm a picky eater. But what if spit doesn't taste so hot, or it's all mucusy and strange in my mostly viscous garlic sauce?
If somebody spit in the garlic sauce and it was anything like the consistency was anything close to a loogie or had any kind of snot in it, I would know. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so you're saying if you didn't detect the flavor, sure, then I don't give a fuck. If nothing bad happens to me and I don't know, well then.
If this is a pure saliva spit with my garlic sauce, I'm never going to find out. I don't care.
You can rape my wife if I never find out about it. We need to celebrate the big 420 birthday.
Of Hitler?
No, of Clint Howard. And how dare you think of Hitler? Why did you think of Hitler for being born on 420 and not Clint Howard?
I don't know Clint Howard's birthday, but I do know Hitler's birthday.
Well,
Clint Howard is an ugly bastard.
Hitler was a beautiful.
He's like the ugliest. Yeah, I mean, compared to Clint Howard,
Adolf Hitler is Gisele Bündchen compared to Gisele Bündchen Brady. How does it feel to have? You're a Floridian. Are you excited to have the greatest Buccaneer of all time suiting up this season?
No, because I went to Florida State, so I liked Jameis Winston. He was championship, and then he goes to Tampa Bay.
And he fucked him right in the pussy for years.
His rookie year wasn't that bad for a rookie, and then he just didn't do anything. And he's injured, he got injured in there. So no, I don't like the idea of Jameis Winston getting replaced, especially not by Tom Brady. Fuck that guy.
I feel you. I love Sam Bradford, and I always knew he was just going to be a huge injury write-off, like from the start, because that's kind of what happened to him at OU. He was really good, but made out of glass. But anytime he gets a gig anywhere, I always want him to end up the starter, and I always get mad if he gets replaced or gets hurt. On the flip side,
do something. Because it seemed like he was like, he just like one of those quarterbacks that comes out of some Midwestern college and is just like a staple of the NFL.
Yes, it seemed like, and I think that's what people thought. But as a fan, I was like, man, I remember this guy was really good, but he gets hurt a lot, and he's already hurt. Like he got hurt in college, and I was like, he seems like a guy who gets hurt, and then all of a sudden he's always hurt. The flip side, though, is the guy that also got hurt, but that I thought was going to be super awesome in the NFL, and he was my favorite player for a while until something happened. Is Adrian Peterson.
Oh yeah, Adrian Peterson. I still remember. I vaguely remember he was in college, but yeah, and he was still. I don't know. Yeah, he was one of those people where it was like everybody always talked about how he could do big things, and he'd have a big game.
I think he was great, but then he beat a 2-year-old with a switch till it bled all over the place, and I just.
It's always sad though. I always wonder how it must be to be that person, like, to go from being like an expected like superstar to being like a bust.
Oh, it's got to be the worst. So depressing.
Like, Adrian Peterson probably not so bad because he at least had a career.
Oh yeah, he's good. Like it's like I don't know if he'll go to the Hall of Fame, but it's like he's like had an incredible career.
Yeah, but then you think of like Vince Young.
Yes.
Who he had mental health issues, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't that what happened with him?
Yes.
And then
well, who's right now? There's Chris Johnson. What's the big headline with Chris Johnson? And he was the fastest man in the NFL at one point, and then he got hurt or something.
That's another one. Is I guess with running backs, it's you can't predict that sort of thing. I feel like I think it's too the positions too volatile. It's like they get injured and you never know when they get injured.
Yeah,
they could just ruin their career. Like you remember when
Yeah, it seems like in the modern NFL, they don't build the team around the running back anymore because of you're better off just assuming you're better off with a scheme where they're interchangeable to some degree because they get hurt, right?
Yeah, yeah. That was because like there was years at FSU. I can't remember what his name was, but we had this running back, and literally like pretty much they could just build the game around this dude. He was insane. I think he's in it. But I can't remember his name.
What's the name of the guy that plays for the Giants that's really good? Where did he play college ball? Gnarls Barkley, the running back for the Giants. He was supposedly like a super awesome college player.
Back in the day, you mean?
No, he's the running back for the Giants now. I think he's supposed to be like the best running back in the NFL.
Because I remember the Giants used to have a running back that was from OU.
Oh, really? Back in the day, they had briefly. Did the Giants? No, it may not have been the Giants. It may have been the Redskins or somebody that had Charlie Ward for a second from FSU. Remember Charlie Ward? Didn't he go to Florida State? He played for the Knicks. He played football for Florida State, then he played for the Knicks, point guard.
That was a long time ago. What am I thinking of? Let me look at the Giants.
Savion Barkley is the name, I believe.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon, there you go. It's not Gnarls Barkley.
This was probably back in like 2008. Brandon Jacobs. No, I thought he went to OU. He went to Auburn.
I don't remember him from OU, no. I thought you meant that he went to Florida State, not OU, even though you said OU.
No. I'm thinking of an Oklahoma running back.
There's also DeJounte Murray, right? Not DeJounte Murray. I can't think of the guy's name. There's been a Murray since he was also awesome since Adrian Peterson. Oh, there's also the quarterback this year.
2007. I'm talking about
I believe that guy's name is Murray.
DeMarco Murray. Yeah.
DeMarco Murray.
That's not who I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
That's not who I'm thinking of, though. DeMarco Murray.
Now we got old Mayfield, and we're going to have a big receiver this year, I heard. Maybe the best receiver. We covered him in another episode, and we did a big debate on how much stickier wide receiver gloves make your hand. How sticky do you think your hands are compared to the average man's?
My hands?
Yeah. You have sticky hands? That's what we were wondering, is how do they determine the stickiness of the average human hand and what it needs? Well, we read an article that said it makes it sticky, 20% stickier than the human hand. And we were like, whose hand?
How sticky is the
Yeah.
My hands are not sticky liquid.
But sometimes mine are if I've been dipping them in sticky sauce.
Yeah, if I don't just put my hands in sticky sauce. If I cover my hands in some kind of substance, perhaps. But then, those things dry out. I think people with sticky hands are people with clammy hands.
Oh, see, I never quite understand the definition of clammy. Does clammy mean they're sweaty or they're sticky or what? Clammy, I guess if something clams, is that glomming? I don't know, what is sub to clam? Guess we should look that up. I'll look that up right now.
Hands. It's not necessarily sweaty. I think but it can be. I think it's more of a moist. They're not really, and it's definitely sweat.
Okay.
Yeah, moist. I used to have this friend. I remember in middle school. His name was Connor, and he had like clammy hands, and he was overweight. I wonder if that was related. Yeah, he wasn't obese, but he was overweight.
So you think this fattiness was seeping out through his pores of his hands. Unpleasantly damp and sticky or slimy. So it's damp and sticky.
Slimy.
Gross.
I wouldn't call it slimy.
That's what this says, slimy.
Wide receiver gloves. I know I've worn wide receiver gloves, but that was like over 10 years ago, so I have no idea.
Are you a wide receiver?
Huh?
Did you play wide receiver?
I played tight end.
Oh, okay.
But they're still catching gloves.
Sure.
For football.
Oh, football tight end. One thing I saw is that Korea was going to open up, South Korea, not North Korea, was going to open up for elections in spite of the COVID outbreak. They're going to have like gloves and spray and stuff at the polls.
I think that's one of those things where you can't allow anything to get in the way of democracy.
So you're for this?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's the 21st century. We should be, either mailing in all our ballots or just doing it online. It's not. It seems silly to have to still go somewhere and actually cast a ballot.
Well, maybe the Koreans can't trust themselves to do that, and they're like, we have to go to the ballot. We're a bunch of
I
fraudsters.
trust Koreans more than I trust Americans.
That's fair. I'm kind of torn on this because on the one hand, I also agree that it's like a beautiful symbol of just like, yeah, we're not going to let anything stand in the way of our belief in ourselves. However, if you vote for a guy and he loses and you get the COVID and you die, you feel pretty dumb. And even if you don't get the COVID and your guy loses in this election, I mean, you're like, I risk death. I better be a big election.
I mean, yeah, first of all, it has to be a big election. I wouldn't go out and vote for...
School millage.
I don't think is that a thing?
Sure, every year you vote for the school millage to make sure they get their money. Otherwise, all the schools close or something, right? The teachers don't get paid.
I've never voted for that. Online, if you do it, I mean, obviously there's always going to be a way to get around it, but they're definitely in America. But I mean, I would trust Koreans. Maybe not even. Well, I would trust Japanese people to do it because there's all about honor and stuff like that. And, South Koreans are probably similar, but not to the same extent. Yeah, other than Japanese people, I don't know if you can really trust them to do that sort of thing. Maybe like one of those European countries where they're like their lives are so good that they don't really have any reason to
lie.
like Luxembourg or Switzerland or something. They're not gonna fucking rig an election.
Some of those,
you're just like, oh.
Some of those European countries, I'll watch a European movie and like it'll be about a homeless man and he's dressed like an Eddie Bauer model going around. And you're like, this doesn't seem very depressing. They're trying to make like a depressing movie. He has it made better than I do.
A homeless person in Scandinavia or like in like Switzerland or Luxembourg is probably better off than like a lower income person in America. They've got all those social nets and
yeah,
they're probably. Let's look it up. That's something.
All right, look it up.
Better in Switzerland.
Damn, you're a fast typer.
Switzerland. It's 3,000 to 8,000. Is that a lot? I wonder if that's a lot. This is a whole just a list of countries by homeless population. Homeless per 100 per 10,000. I don't know. Jordan has no homeless people. I wonder how they manage that.
Wow.
Switzerland, this list only has, how many countries is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't want to count all that. This is not every country, but this appears to be a lot of countries. We are better off than the UK, which is surprising. Yeah, Switzerland's like almost near the top. The only countries above Switzerland is Portugal, South Korea, Hong Kong, Japan, Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein is how I say it.
Liechtenstein and Jordan.
I'm no expert.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6 countries ahead of Switzerland on this list. This also says Brazil is up there. That doesn't make sense. I don't know if I can trust this list anymore.
Who made this list?
Let's see. Every single country appears to have its own reference. I'm not going to go through all that. The years are all out of whack. Some of them are from like 20 years ago, 10 years.
Another headline I read.
Oh, that's after Hurricane Ivan. Grenada says 5,644 people homeless out of 10,000 for every 10,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Over half after Hurricane Ivan.
Oh, wow.
Haiti says 2,324 people out of every 10,000 people is homeless. It's wild. Compared to America, which is at 17. You're actually tied with Austria. That's pretty crazy.
They seem like a country that has regulations.
Yeah.
Believes in rules.
Which is surprising that they're doing part of this.
Yeah. You'd think they'd be better. What happened to Austria?
And Austria doesn't...
I used to believe in Austria.
These results aren't fit from Austria. Whereas Russia being... what is this? 4 people per 10,000.
Wow.
It does say according to the State Duma of special, which is basically like saying this is a lie. This actually says homelessness does not exist in Liechtenstein, and a homeless shelter which existed previously was closed down due to lack of use.
Wow. Wow.
How many people live here?
Yeah, I was going to say, do they even meet the minimum requirement of the survey?
It's 38,000 people, so not many.
So they can only get to 3 times the amount of people you need for the survey.
Yeah.
Almost
Yeah,
4.
I guess so. So even if they had like 10 people per
Their percentage would be
10,000,
terrible.
It would be like 38 people,
Yeah.
38 homeless people. What are we gonna do about this? I'm gonna build a house. Put them in the house.
Old Tommy's got a couch he ain't using.
Just get a couple of couches.
That's my accent of a guy from Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein.
Old Tommy.
That's what they say. That's exactly what the Liechtensteiners says. It says.
Liechtensteiners. That's kind of cool.
What is the point of like being a country at that point if you're that small?
Sounds kind of cool. It's exclusive.
The Prince of Liechtenstein.
You get a lot of use out of your passport, I imagine.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You're always
Okay,
going
right.
abroad. I read that the zoo is going to feed some animals to other animals. They're so hard up in times of the COVID for meat
That's it.
that they're going to
What
be.
zoo?
I don't remember what zoo, but I was thinking that the bats are all like thinking that they're really safe on this deal.
Yeah, nobody's gonna start feeding bats to other animals.
I mean, dude, what animal would you like to see fed to another animal?
I can't say that I have an answer for that.
I'd like to see a tiger eat a condor, or a cobra eat a dolphin.
Just like wild dogs eating like the rarest animals. So they would just like,
We have to do it. Now you get to watch the video and enjoy it. Don't feel bad.
it's to raise money for the next race.
That's right. So we can buy steaks. I mean, that's crazy. Can't we just give like some cows away? Don't we have enough cows to give them some cows to feed these animals?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess some of the animals, obviously some of the animals are part of the other animals' natural food chain, I guess.
This sounds like fake news.
Yeah, maybe. I read it on CNN, so it probably is.
Berlin zoo may feed animals to animals.
No, Berlin, they're depressing anyway.
The zoo in Germany said its drastic plan would only be a last resort. One animal would be spared until the end. It said a 12-foot-tall polar bear called Vitus.
So it's just going to eat all the animals?
So says, I guess that's
And Vitus means life or something, I bet, right? So it gets to live because it's Vitus.
Yeah, it's vital to the park, to the zoo. Well, that doesn't make sense.
There was big
It
news.
says it would. There was big news.
We got the stimulus. Did you get your stimulus money? Have you blown it yet?
I did get my stimulus money now. I put it in my savings account.
Wow, look at you. Maybe you could be trusted in Japan with some elections.
No, I don't think so. Because I am eventually going to spend it. I'm just not ready to spend it. Because my work's also going to pay me like a couple $100 in back pay for like a retroactive raise that I got.
Oh, really?
And then I'll spend it all.
Do you have something in mind to blow it on yet?
Yeah, I'm going to get a new computer. This computer's 4 years old.
Oh, mine's 8 years old at this point.
Might be one of your qualities. Can be a problem. Oh, yeah. See, when I was in a senior in high school, I was either a senior or I'm pretty sure I was a senior in high school. I bought a computer. It was like a top-of-the-line computer, best stuff I could get at the time, and that computer lasted me like. Well, I guess it only lasted me 4 years. It was stolen out of my car when I was like homeless, and it was stolen out of my car. But
that sucks.
I think it could have lasted. It could have lasted longer. I don't remember even how well it worked towards the end because I didn't have anywhere to plug it in and use it. But I think the parts were still pretty. They were passable. I think I could have played, any games that I tried would have worked. It was loud.
What games are you playing
But,
now?
anyway, what games am I playing now? It's a good question. Dude.
I heard you yesterday. Well, we were supposed to record this yesterday, but you were playing Dungeons and Dragons. Is that that's what D&D was, right?
Yes, but that's not a computer game.
No, but I mean, how do you play Dungeons and Dragons?
So normally when there's not a pandemic, we all go to, my friend is a pastor of a church, so he is the leader of the church.
Nice.
And he has a church, and my other friend works there as well, so we go to their church at night, and...
so you play Dungeons and Dragons at church?
Yeah, in a church. It's a non-denominational church.
Okay.
Which I think that helps. And there's how many of us are there?
Well, I mean, isn't it, from based on my childhood, isn't Dungeons and Dragons forged by Lucifer himself?
Maybe 8 people. Lucifer, I don't think was involved. I don't remember the actual creator's name, but it's not God. I'll tell you that much.
I guess what I'm asking is, okay, so you go over there, and there's no board, or is there, in Dungeons? I love board games.
Not a board.
Okay.
It's not a board game. It's considered a tabletop game, which is different.
Okay.
So depending on where we are in the world, so right now we're on this island. It's called Chult, and it's like it's an island out in the middle of the water, as most islands are.
Yes.
And like covered in jungle and black people. Call them like Schultians or something. I can't remember. A dice game. It's not a dice game. I don't know if you would call it. You do roll dice. Dice are very important to the game. So we're on this island, and so we get to the island with these adventurers, and we get to the island, and anyways, that doesn't matter. But so basically, the way the game works. So right now we're in this city. It's called the city. I'll try and link you a picture of this city, or like a map of the city.
Okay.
Just to give you an idea of like what we would be looking at while we're playing. So whatever the dungeon master decides to do, whether he decides to bring like what we usually do at the church is we have a projector, and we just project images onto the table, and that's our map.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
well, it would not.
Sometimes.
Perhaps you were going to explain this, but it would not the map function as a game board?
Essentially, yeah, it does. Yeah, so pretty much when there are some parts of the game where, let's say, like look at that picture I just sent. So that's the city where it's...
Oh, okay, here we go.
It's where we're playing this campaign called Tomb of the Annihilation. And so we're looking for this tomb, because we have to go there, because we're trying to cure this like curse that's also a disease. I don't know if it's a disease or a curse, but it is something that we're trying to figure out the cause of this and cure it. And so if you look at that map, it's just like a city. So sometimes we're at a certain part of the city and we're looking at this map. Other times we're like in a building.
So you're a team?
In like a specific part of the city. Yeah, we're a team.
Okay, here we go.
Group or party, whatever you want to call it. And so we have a dungeon master, which is the storyteller, pretty much, who's telling you the story and deciding how the story goes and what the non-player characters do and say and stuff like that. And then you have the character, and your character has stats and you just pretty much make decisions, and the dungeon master's like, okay, you do this and blah blah blah. You have to roll for this, like you have to roll whether it's like maybe a dexterity check or like a strength check, depending on what your character's good at. Like you get modifiers to your dice roll that make you perform better. Like my character, we're playing 2 campaigns right now. Actually, my character in the campaign for the map that I just sent you is like really, he has high dexterity. And is really like sneaky, and so I can like when I roll for stealth, I get like a +10 ability modifier. So even if I roll like a 5, I still get a 15 in stealth. So like that's what my character's best at is sneaking and stealing and sneaking up on people. And that's what I do. So basically, everybody takes a turn. Especially in combat, everybody takes a turn. When you're just kind of like doing storytelling, and the dungeon master sort of directs questions at different characters and like decision making points at different characters, but then when you're actually like in combat, everybody has you roll for initiative, and depending on what you roll, that's the order that you get to take your turn. So if you roll shitty, you have to go last, and if you roll really well, you go first, and whatever the order is. And yeah, so it's not. It's. I mean, imagine like it's just like an RPG pretty much. But like,
Well, I'm also not very familiar with RPGs, but so what I have ascertained that I was wondering is essentially you don't play against each other. You all play against the board, and it's kind of the last man standing wins. And perhaps the game ends with multiple people standing, and they all gain points that move ahead toward a next time of playing, or no.
it really depends on how you do it. It's not really so much against like the dungeon master isn't trying to kill you.
Okay.
The dungeon master is just trying to get you through the story. If you die, then you die. Like that's like the dungeon master isn't like out to get you or anything, but like obviously they're going to try and make it challenging, and they're going to be like I've never died, but this other guy that we play with has died in like every campaign we've played, he's died. And now your character, if your group isn't able to revive the character, like the character's dead. And we didn't carry our characters over from our last campaign. I guess you could do that, but I don't think it would really be. It didn't seem like it'd be fun because like towards the end of the campaign, you're powerful and you've gained all these levels and all these, well, depending on what your character is, you've gained all these abilities and levels, and then to just carry that over into a new campaign, it wouldn't really be fun because like unless you were just like always fighting like these insanely powerful creatures or enemies, like you would just be overpowered.
One of the things that I never got into the game because I felt like it was a game that relied almost entirely upon chance and spending money. And that's not really how it works. I thought that the cards, that you could buy extra cards and things, and those would make it more likely that you would win the game. But it seems that no, in fact, the game, those extra cards and things, they more give you more options on playing the game different ways.
Cards? There are no cards. Cards? You might be thinking of Magic the Gathering.
When I was a boy, maybe I'm thinking of figurines and such. I thought there were different. When I was a boy, I would go to this hobby shop because I liked comic books and G.I. Joes, and I would see these things of knights and dragons and monsters of sorts, and I thought that they were for your Dungeons and Dragons game. Apparently not.
They may be, but they're only like avatars. Like,
oh.
If you have like a character in Dungeons and Dragons, it's just an avatar. Whereas if you might be thinking of like Warhammer or Warhammer 40,000, if they're dragons, it's probably Warhammer. But those are actual like figurines that like actually represent like you have to have that in order to have that character. Whereas like I had no figurines. I had dice.
Okay.
I had dice, and you have a bunch of different dice. As somebody was asking, how many dice? There's like 20-sided dice.
Yes.
But most of the main rolls are going to be 20-sided dice. So
and we call that a dodecahedron.
I personally don't, but if you want to, that's fine. Wouldn't dodecahedron be? Wouldn't that be 10?
I don't know. This is the 10 maybe. I thought a decahedron would probably be a 10, and then maybe a dodeca would be a 20.
I don't know what dodeca means.
I don't know.
Taken a math class. And so this is let me try to find that.
The other question I guess I would have is, are there ways you strategize in order not to die?
Not so much strategize now, because it's I mean, obviously you try to use all your character's skills, and your party tries to use their character's skills, like to try and keep each other alive. Or you don't really have to. I'm assuming like that's what we do, because like I don't think any of us like hate each other, but I've heard that in some campaigns like people will try to kill each other, because you can do that. You can do whatever you want. It's just like as long as the dungeon master allows it, or like the dungeon master just has to kind of go with it if that's what you decide to do. I'm sure if you started to like screw up their storytelling, they might get pissed and like just try to kill you off or something. But no, if you die, you get what's called you get like a three death saving throws. So 3 times your turn will come up and you have to roll the dice, and you have to get I can't remember what you have to get, but if you get 3 attempts to beat this dice roll, and if you don't beat the dice roll, then you're dead. If you do beat the dice roll, you're like unconscious, and like people can heal you.
Okay.
But yeah, if you don't do that, then
what happens if you just equal the dice roll? Because there could be a dice roll that could be unbeatable. No.
I don't remember. I don't know what my papers are. Let me check. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, it just says successes and failures. It doesn't say what you actually need. Figurines. I've never had any figurines.
What did we find out?
I don't know. It doesn't say on the paper. I can look it up.
The projected map seems pretty fun.
Yeah, when they first brought the projector, I was like, oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
And then now that we're just doing it online, since we can't meet up in person, there's this website called Roll20, and you can upload maps, and then you can like place like these like digital characters on it, and then the dungeon master just like assigns you your digital character, so you move it around yourself. So that's what we've been doing since the COVID stuff started, which is fun. It's kind of hard when you're just like sitting there in your chair. It's like really easy to fall asleep. Like if it's not for your turn, if it's not your turn or something like that, and you're just kind of sitting there listening. Me personally, I fall asleep a lot, but I kind of do that regardless of what I'm doing. So
it occurs to me that nowadays, when you work at a movie theater with the modern digital projectors, that the employees maybe are playing video games in the movie theaters after working somehow. They could probably rig that up.
Well, yeah, because if you're projecting at a movie theater now doesn't really have to do anything.
Yeah, when I used to work as a projectionist at the movie theater, and it was still the film. It was all film. You had to thread up the thing. You couldn't play video games on that.
Yeah. Oh, you mean they're playing video games on?
Yeah, like I bet you could sit in the movie theater now. I bet there's a way to rig it up pretty easily. I'm sure people are doing this like every night after movie theaters. Maybe not during the COVID. Maybe the manager has the keys and he's going in there. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I've seen pictures on Reddit of people like in a movie theater projecting like a video game onto the screen.
There you go.
But I thought you meant like what do they do after? Because you don't have to switch any roles of film or anything like that. So
no, being a projectionist seems like a pretty easy job. Like anybody could do it now, right? Not that it was so difficult before, but you had to learn how to do it.
Yeah, did you just you just press play, I guess?
Yeah, you pop a thumb drive in?
Do they have like dedicated projectionists in there?
Probably not. My guess would be that can't be a whole job anymore.
Yeah, because you just go in and press play and that's it. You don't have to switch anything out.
It was barely a job then. Like, really. Because you would do it, and then, depending on how many screens the theater was, how many would you have to thread up per 2 hours? You'd only have to do like 8 to 14 to 20. You have to do this like process that took maybe a minute. As you gained skill, you could do it really fast. That was the one thing. You would loop this machine really quickly, and then you would get it going. But then you'd have to check on them sometimes because they would fuck up. So you'd have to do like maintenance checks. But you could slack on that. People were known to set timers and sleep between times they had to thread up the movies. Do your college homework up there. Maybe even bring a girl up there. Maybe even do drugs up there. Who's to say what happens up at the old projection booths? But nowadays, I don't think people do that. I don't think they can do it. No, they probably still do stuff up there.
You could probably in an empty theater, you could get away with fucking a lot easier because there's no projectionists up there.
Yeah, you're right.
Watching to see if you're banging.
Yes,
like
that's
if
right.
Just in an empty theater, because that's always who catches you is the projectionist. Looking down and seeing somebody, slamming ham. But if there's no projectionist,
there's no witness.
Nobody's around. There's no witness. If there's no witness, there's no crime.
Then why even do it if that projectionist can't see?
I remember I got molested in the movie theater. It was she was must have been a year or two older than me, maybe even 3 years older than me, and she grabbed my penis. I had no idea who it was. I think it was M. Night Shyamalan's The Village that I was watching.
Wow.
And yeah, the projectionist did nothing. And that was that.
Didn't save you?
That was back 2004. No, it was a packed theater. Nobody did anything.
One time, I was the only person in the theater with a girl, and I had sex in the theater. The projectionist also did nothing.
They didn't care.
No one said anything. But you're dealing with a percentage chance. There's a good chance that projectionist never looks in that theater the entire time you're watching the movie.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah. We were looking at... Okay, so the last episode, we asked the question of what's the best 80s Tom Cruise, because, you know, Top Gun 2 is coming out. What's your favorite Tom Cruise movie of the 80s?
Of the 80s. That's a big question.
Follow-up question. Two-part question. I was thinking about this, looking at this list of Tom Cruise movies and how great Tom Cruise is, and I was thinking, what movie should Tom Cruise have been in that he wasn't? And one movie immediately popped out to me, and then a second was based on when we were looking... I thought of this while editing, and we talk about Born on the 4th of July, and I was thinking, you know, Tom Cruise really would have been fantastic in both, especially Wall Street is like a perfect Tom Cruise role, isn't it? And then like Platoon also. I think Charlie Sheen's awesome in both movies, but it turns out Tom Cruise turned down Wall Street, but I was thinking he would have been pretty much the exact right, perfect for that.
You mean replacing Charlie Sheen in both movies?
Yes. Wouldn't he just make sense in both movies perfectly?
There it is. That's a good question. Platoon? I don't know. Because in the 80s, Platoon came out in 1987, right?
I think 86. I believe 86. I believe it won Best Picture for 86. I could be wrong. Because I think 1987 might be The Last Emperor. 1988 is Rain Man. 1989 is Driving Miss Daisy, I think. And then 1990s Dances with Wolves.
I mean, if you look at his movies from the 80s, he's like, Top Gun was 1986 also.
And Color of Money. Yeah, he had a full schedule.
I'm more so thinking, let's take a look at first. We have
Charlie Sheen would have been great in Color of Money.
Look at Charlie Sheen's filmography. Yeah, he was already famous by 1986. His schedule was even busier in 1986.
You could see an alternate future or past where Charlie Sheen has all the roles that Tom Cruise has, and Tom Cruise has all the Charlie Sheen roles, and is doing the Hot Shots movies and shit.
I don't think so. No, because Charlie Sheen, I think,
liked hookers too much.
Yeah. Like I think he kind of fell off.
He brought it on himself.
Yeah, he fell off. He didn't. I don't think he had the dedication that time. Like, can you imagine Charlie Sheen in Collateral?
Or Tom Cruise in Men at Work?
I can't picture Tom Cruise in most of Charlie Sheen's roles, honestly.
What about Tom Cruise in Major League?
I think he could do that.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like you already have the glasses and Color of Money.
I think Charlie Sheen in Platoon was just like perfect.
Yeah.
Because he kind of had, I don't know, just like, because imagine, okay, so Charlie Sheen's character in Platoon is kind of like that, like the college boy, like, who just decided to go to war. And then if you think of Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men, he's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
He plays like the cocky like college guy. That's like I can't think of.
You're right. He's not the thoughtful person. Tom Cruise doesn't play a thoughtful person in anything.
Yeah,
that's not his character. That's a very good observation. He's never thoughtful in any of these movies. Maybe the closest is maybe Risky Business, but even then, he's always more of a go-getter. He's not a contemplative, meditative person in these films.
I'm trying to look through and think of one there.
Even if he's a venal go-getter, like in A Few Good Men, he's certainly not an idealist of any kind, or like some kind of guy who's out to be the best lawyer of all time. He's more kind of, he's into his pursuits of fun, pleasure. He's on a hedonistic loop. His excellence at work lets him escape and lets him perpetuate. I would have really liked to have seen Charlie Sheen's performance in Minority Report and also in Magnolia as Frank T.J. Mackey. No,
That sounds pretty awful.
well, far and away.
Let me see. Like Charlie Sheen, I think I think Charlie Sheen could have played Tom Cruise's character in Tropic Thunder.
What about, you know what? I'm going to say he could have played the part in Rain Man. Also, similarly to Tom Cruise, also kind of looks like Dustin Hoffman enough to play his brother.
He does look like Dustin Hoffman, but like I feel like Charlie Sheen doesn't have that, like, because you know how even in Rain Man, like Tom Cruise has that like charisma, that like
yes, you do like
asshole,
him,
but like
you want him to win.
Like yeah, exactly. And Charlie Sheen's kind of more like, when Charlie Sheen is an asshole in a movie, he's not really a likable asshole.
He's more of a rated R asshole. Which is kind of funny because you'd say, like, you know, that makes it more right for Major League's character of the crime, of the guy getting out of prison. But also, in theory, it would make him more right for Collateral. But maybe he just makes the Collateral guy like Rain Man too awful.
Yeah, but I think that's what made, I think that's what was so good about Tom Cruise, even in Collateral. Because, like, when was the last time Tom Cruise played a villain?
Never.
Like,
I haven't seen Tropic Thunder, so I don't know to what extent he's a hero or a villain or what. So I don't know. But on the movies I've seen, he's a villain in Lions for Lambs. But that's a piece of shit movie.
I didn't see Lions for Lambs.
You're not missing much. That'll come up in, like, part 12 of the Tom Cruise series leading up to Top Gun 2. Where we get to the 2000s or 2010s, whenever that came out.
You want to hear God's honest truth?
Yes.
I've never seen the first Top Gun.
Wow!
I have no desire to watch that movie for some reason. Like, if for some reason a movie about people flying planes, it just doesn't interest me at all.
I agree with
Tom
you.
Cruise, like, I'll literally watch any other Tom Cruise movie, but I've just never had any desire to watch Top Gun. I don't know why. It just doesn't seem like an interesting movie to me. Like I feel like I know the movie already. I've never seen it. Nobody's ever spoiled it. I know, like, one of his friends dies because that's it. But, like, in terms of, like, I can picture the plot, like a 1980s movie about jet pilots. Like, it's not really hard to guess.
No.
There's going to be, like, training scenes, I'm sure, and then, like, they're going to go on a mission, and things are going to, they're going to be the underdogs at some point, and then maybe afterwards Tom Cruise triumphs, I'm sure, at the end.
Yes.
And maybe he loses somebody along the way.
It's a little different than that, but you're basically correct. It's more like they go to school. Tom Cruise gets to go to a special school of top guys. And that's kind of the training stuff. It's all the movie's really about training stuff. Then they go on a real mission at the end, kind of like Stripes. If you've ever seen Stripes with Bill Murray, how most of it's a boot camp. It's like Tom Cruise is like one of the best fighter pilots in the Navy, in the Naval Academy or in the Navy or some shit. And he gets sent to a special school. That's the Top Gun school, and that's where he meets the other Top Gun guys. So it's like a bunch of the best guys competing to be number one in these classes and be the Top Gun. And then he loses being the Top Gun because he quits or something, because he gets demerits for killing his buddy or some such. And then he gets, in fact, I wanted to ask you about Top Gun because the one thing I'm not the biggest Top Gun man myself. And I wanted to ask, Jade brought up that really the villain in Top Gun, it's kind of, if there's a bad guy in the movie, it's kind of Iceman, who's played by Val Kilmer. He's kind of the dick pilot at the school who's competing with Tom Cruise and ends up winning. But really the problem is Tom Cruise, not everybody else. Tom Cruise is like too reckless and is always trying to get people killed, he's not respecting the safety enough of others. And so really it seems like maybe Val Kilmer should have won in retrospect. I haven't seen the movie in many, many years.
Theme of Tom Cruise, I feel like he's
yes.
He plays fast and loose.
Yes.
That's what Tom Cruise's thing is, fast and loose. Except for obviously like in Collateral, where it's like completely against his character to not be in control, or
good point.
But like if you think of
Color of Money,
I was thinking of
All the Right Moves. He
plays
plays fast and loose. A Few Good Men.
Thinking of actually, that's what when I okay, so I saw Starship Troopers when I was like 7, and like every time I've ever thought about Top Gun, I've thought like it seems like it's just like Starship Troopers, except there's no aliens and it's like fighter pilots instead of like Space Marines. Like that's what I've
No,
always seen.
it's not. It's not really like that. It's different than
Not
that.
like that, not like in the satirical sense, but like in like
The plot structure.
the plot structure, and also just like obviously Starship Troopers, it's done in kind of like a tongue-in-cheek kind of way, but like just the like kind of masculinity circle jerk of like just like well, I guess even in Starship Troopers, it's not even.
Well, Starship Troopers, a lot of the sexuality is overt. It's a Paul Verhoeven movie, and it's like he loves sex in all of his stuff. He's very always like a bunch of sex stuff. So anything sexy or pervy you can read into the movie Starship Troopers, anything sexual you can read into it is there on purpose. That guy, that's his bag.
Yeah.
But in Top Gun, there's the famously thing where Quentin Tarantino has a monologue somewhere about, he has a whole rant about how the movie is a metaphor for going gay, and that it's all about like them trying to win Tom Cruise over to being gay. I don't see that when I see the movie, but at the same time, it's like when I was a kid, I loved it, but it's one now that I don't have much interest in, to be honest. I have just no interest in Top Gun 2, other than the fact that I love Tom Cruise movies.
Dad didn't like you watching Top Gun.
One of the movies that was a ripoff of Top Gun that I don't think you saw was Navy SEALs, which is a bunch of like, it's a Navy, and it does star Charlie Sheen, and it's way better. You've got to see Navy SEALs. It's just a team of Navy SEALs going on ridiculously over-budgeted, over-the-top, shoot-'em-up missions and getting in some plot, and it's like as dumb as Top Gun, and it's just like dumbass macho. And there's a part where they play polo with golf carts, and it plays The Boys Are Back in Town in a montage. It's like it literally has that in the movie. But it is actually like awesome. If anybody ends up watching this, they should watch the movie Navy SEALs. It's like Tom Cruise and Dennis Haysbert and Bill Paxton and Michael Biehn and
Tom Cruise is Charlie Sheen.
You're right, Charlie Sheen. He plays the guy that plays Fast and Loose, and his name is Bad Karma. Is his code name.
That's his call sign.
Yeah, that's his call sign. That's right. Just like Maverick is Tom Cruise's call sign.
Also, Risky Business, Fast and Loose. All the right moves.
Fast and Loose. I'd say Fast and Loose.
Fast and Loose. Born on the 4th of July, Fast and Loose at first.
That's one where the Fast and Loose had some real consequences for him and another guy.
He loses his legs.
And he killed that other guy right in friendly fire. Didn't he shoot one of his troops in Nam, and he has to go visit the guy's mom at some point? And he's like, I have to tell you, I think I killed your son. Yeah.
I don't recall that. I've only seen that movie twice. I've only seen that movie once, actually. And I saw that, like, it was maybe like 3 years ago that I finally watched that.
I think that happens, but I could be wrong.
I know the scene you're talking about. Like, it was to, like, he goes to his friend's parents' house or whatever. Like, the guy that he fought with. But no, what I think was screwed him up in Nam is that he, like, killed the baby on accident or something like that. He like was shooting into a hut or something and like killed the baby or something like that.
He really had a true Nam experience.
Yeah, that was what they got yelled at apparently for.
He should have gotten a baby too, like what's his face, that guy, the comedian in The Watchmen. That was the only part of the movie I liked, was when he got his Nam baby and whatnot.
Oh yeah, when he got the pregnant.
Yes, I was like, literally that montage about that guy was the only part of that entire movie I enjoyed. The rest of the movie I thought was pure shit. But that part I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Because then doesn't he torch the lady and the kid or something?
No. He shoots her in the face.
There you go. That's good.
And
women.
And yells at Dr. Manhattan for not doing anything about it.
So are you a fan of any of these movies? Of the 80s Tom Cruise?
Yeah, I don't know. If I had to choose one of these, I would say either Risky Business or Rain Man.
Ooh, two quality choices.
Risky Business is like that teenage fantasy movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's like like where it's like everything you wish that had happened when you were a teenager. And then obviously Rain Man is just a good movie. But Born on the 4th of July, I honestly didn't like it that much.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It was just kind of like, it seemed like almost like it kind of dragged. It might have had something to do with when I watched it. I think it was just a miserable movie.
It is. It's a miserable
one of those
movie.
movies where like you watch this movie and you're like, I don't ever care if I watch this movie again because it's just not. It was like I get the importance of the story and everything, and I appreciate like all of the like the acting and the directing and blah blah blah. But it doesn't. It's not like the kind of movie I want to watch again. Like even Schindler's List, I can watch Schindler's List again.
I think Schindler's List is better. It's the same kind of thing, but it's a little better, I think. Though,
it's still really depressing.
Yeah, both really depressing, but I just feel like Schindler's List is just a better movie. Making the world where you're like, man, this seems like it's going on. Like, what the fuck? This is pretty crazy. I watched Schindler's List. I watched Schindler's List a couple of years ago, and I was blown away by it. I tried to watch it when I had watched it when it was new, and I just was too young or something. It bored the shit out of me. But I watched it like 2 or 3 years ago now, and I was like, man, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't ever see it until I think I was like a senior in high school when I finally saw Schindler's List. And I liked it a lot. Oh god, I accidentally unplugged my thing. Yeah, I liked it. Everything about Schindler's List is like, and it's like, I don't really like Steven Spielberg that much. Steven Spielberg has some movies that I like a lot. Like I like Jurassic Park a lot. I like E.T. a lot. I like Schindler's List a lot, obviously. Jaws is good.
Oh yeah, I like Jaws too.
Well, I think
I like the Indiana Jones, the first 2 Indiana Joneses a lot.
Yeah. Actually, I don't like Temple of Doom that much, to be honest. I don't know why, but I've never enjoyed Temple of Doom.
I saw that one first when I was a kid, so maybe tainted. Like, that's the movie that made me fall in love with Indiana Jones, so I don't know now. That
is one Tom Cruise movie I need to watch, is Cocktail. Never seen it.
A little hazy on it. It's kind of a sex dramedy or something, right? He becomes makes a cocktail friend. Then they try to meet some lady. Then there's some kind of bad blood in there, and he gets with the lady. The lady's a rich girl played by Elizabeth Shue. It's one of those movies. When I was editing the other episode, I was watching the trailers for all these movies, and the trailer for Cocktail tells you a ton of the movie. So if you ever just want to see what Cocktail's about, if you watch the trailer, you get a pretty full picture of what happens in the movie.
I never watched it because I always figured it was really just about him throwing like bottles when he was being a bartender. Like I didn't really think there was much to the story besides. I figured it was like a risky business, but with the bartender.
It is. It's exactly risky business with the bartender. That's what I was thinking when you were talking about it right now when you said, because he's a guy just like the guy in Risky Business who wants to make money. And then this adventure happens to him on the side of that and becomes mixed in with that. Because in Risky Business, he's in that business class. And then then he ends up with all these hookers in this sex movie. But in Cocktail, he's also, I think, maybe in a business class. And then he ends up needing a job, and he works as a bartender and ends up like in this big bartending movie.
Let me see if they had different names. Brian Flanagan. Right, no,
very, very Irish name there. And then Joel, of course. Sometimes
Joel. The college version of Risky Business. Him in college.
He may actually have been in college in Risky Business, even though it seems like a high school movie. It's hard to imagine him being in that weird business class. I haven't seen Risky Business in longer than it's been since I've seen Cocktail. But I think Risky Business is the better movie, I would say.
You know what's funny is Tom Cruise in Risky Business. His character reminds me of Dustin Hoffman in The Graduate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because they're like kind of like, and especially since I think they both set in Chicago, or the suburbs of Chicago.
Oh really?
They both like come home from school and have this like But I thought for sure that Risky Business he was a high school guy. Yeah, he says a high achieving high school student.
Oh, there you go.
in
I thought he was a
Chicago,
college
North
guy.
Shore. And then he graduated. He's like, oh no, he's not in Chicago undergraduate.
He's in California.
The characters,
You're
yeah,
right?
he's in California.
Yeah.
But the characters seem like really similar.
That's why it's,
Like
to me, yeah, like the Graduate kind of has that very like sunny Southern California kind of feel.
Yeah, which I also didn't see The Graduate until like I was probably like 20. I'd say I was like 26 when I finally saw The Graduate, maybe 27, and that was really good. I like that because
Yeah, I did like that.
it's funny to see Dustin Hoffman. It's because I guess I'm so used to Dustin Hoffman as being like this kind of old short dude.
Then he was a young short dude.
Yeah, but the only Dustin Hoffman movie I ever saw like was young was Rain Man, and he played a retarded person. That was my whole perception of Dustin Hoffman as a young man, is that he was retarded.
That would probably be the first movie I was aware of Dustin Hoffman in too, because I would just be, becoming aware of who actors' names even were in movies around the time Rain Man was new. So that's probably the same for me. And then Hook, was probably after that. Those would be the things I knew Dustin Hoffman for would be Rain Man and Hook. I watched Losing It, Tom Cruise, one of the few on that list I hadn't seen of the 80s movies. It was pretty good. It was done by Curtis Hanson from LA Confidential fame, and it was about 3 virgins in high school who are buddies that go to Tijuana to get laid. I kind of liked it. It was strange. It was a strange movie in that, in all those movies like American Pie, it was a movie like American Pie or something, but in American Pie, like it's like they're all kind of similar, but they're set in different, like, there are differences in the main guy's characters are in their popularity and things they like to do, or in other movies it'll be like the guy's race or something, like, or their social strata in Stand By Me, for example. It's like the different levels of how poor or white trashy the different kids are or something is how they're broken down. But in Losing It, the 3 kids, like, they're chosen, their characters, it's Tom Cruise, Jackie Earle Haley, and a third guy. And they're each chosen based on their psychology towards sexuality and losing their virginity. And you kind of watch that play out as they go to Tijuana, and then the movie plays out. And like Jackie Earle Haley is kind of this guy that, like, to him, he's a dork. And he's always the guy who's got the big mouth, and to him, this gateway into sexuality is kind of a way to be like wise or be cool in some way. And Tom Cruise is more romantic he's the romantic kind of everyday guy. He's the Tom Cruise guy. He's the all-American kid who's all romantic about it. Then the third guy's like a creepy fucking perv that wants to meet like the donkey and keeps getting in fights and shit down there. It's like he's like some burgeoning psycho guy. And I was like, man, this is kind of weird. I kind of like it. I've never seen a movie where the teens are like these 3 like different versions of sexuality or something. Like what? Like 2 guys. You're like 2 kids are kind of sweet, but that third guy, man, he's gonna murder somebody.
That seems like a good plot to actually have a hooker murder.
Yeah, they didn't.
Like
they had
yeah.
Shelley Long as a girl getting a Quickie Mexico divorce, an older lady, and then she and Tom Cruise, he ends up losing his virginity to Shelley Long, and it was like an older lady.
But what's that movie with Vince Vaughn where they accidentally kill a hooker?
Shit, I don't know. There's one, let me think. There's one where they kill a hooker called Very Bad Things with Christian Slater.
No, not that. Not Vince Vaughn. Vince Van Gogh. Let's see, Swingers, is that it?
Nah, they don't kill a hooker in that.
No, that's not it. So,
I think it was, there was Psycho.
maybe it wasn't him. Oh no, it wasn't Vince Vaughn. It was, shit, who's the guy? I think he directed Iron Man. What's his name?
Jon Favreau was in it. That's Very Bad Things, I think, right?
How do you spell Don Favreau? That's close enough. Let me just look up the Iron Man movie.
Tom Cruise was offered the role of Iron Man and turned it down. Do you think he would have been a good Iron Man?
Tom Cruise and Iron Man. Jon Favreau was in Swingers also. That might have been one I thought.
Yes.
Very Bad Things. I were to go to Vegas and something like that. Stripper. Yep. That's it.
All right. Oh wait, you got to choose between Rain Man and Risky Business. Which one are you taking?
Is this like if I had to watch watch one of these movies?
I don't know. Just which one is your favorite or do you think is the best? You got to choose one Tom Cruise movie from the 80s. It's tough. It's not easy.
Or from the 80s, though. You feel like you'd go
Well, we're going to go, we'll think about how long we've just talked about the 80s Tom Cruise movies. We'll have to, it's going to be an ongoing series. Next we're going to do the 90s. And then after that, we'll do the, whatever's after the 90s. And then after that, whatever in the future came after that. We've got 4 decades of Cruise to go through here. This is just decade 1.
Well, I feel like I need to go and watch Taps, because I've heard good things about Taps.
It's a solid watch. Not great, I wouldn't say. But.
Okay. Anyways, I'd go with Risky Business simply because I feel like I would get annoyed by the Rain Man character after, like, you know, if I had to choose.
I think that was an excellent choice. If I had to judge, I'd just say that your choice was excellent.
Yeah, I think I like Rain Man. I just and Rain Man's kind of like one of those movies where it's like, I'll watch this one. I want to feel, you know, like I want, you know, like a feel good story. Whereas Risky Business has, like, you know, the suspense and obviously it's not, Risky Business is not like there's nothing groundbreaking about it, but it's like entertaining. It's just like purely an entertaining movie. And plus, there's, you know, it does you know, that high school male high school fantasy of
plus you can jerk off to
being in high school and
easier to it
and banging an adult woman.
Yeah.
The male fantasy.
You know, I don't know about your Rain Man fantasies. Maybe you can jerk off easier to Rain Man. I don't want to judge. I mean, I would like to judge. Rain Man is a guy who doesn't have all of his faculties. You would be taking advantage of Rain Man in your fantasy. That's not right.
The only part of Rain Man that fulfills any sort of fantasy is the fantasy of having a rich relative die.
You're gonna take a trip.
Let's see, Steven Spielberg movies. Did he direct? No. Did he produce? Yes. Did he write it? Yes. Doesn't say he directed it. Here, this is a good movie. What would you say your favorite Spielberg movie is?
Man, that's a tough call. So I like Raiders of the Lost Ark and Schindler's List and Jurassic Park jump out to me off the top of my head, but I feel like I'm forgetting one that I really like if I say those. I was impressed more than I remembered by some of his, like, age well better than I would think, because I really liked both AI and Amistad more than I remembered liking them when they were new upon rewatch in recent years. I was like, you know, those are pretty good movies. And maybe the same might be true of something like Munich. I could see liking that better, because I would rate Minority Report pretty high on my Spielberg's, and I don't like it as much as some movies, even Tom Cruise movies, you know? Let's look on this.
I think Minority Report's really good. Especially, like, I don't understand. I've read the short story that Minority Report is based off of, and I don't. The idea of extrapolating the movie from that, like, really short.
Let's see here. I would definitely not say Saving Private Ryan. I wouldn't say... I watched, what's the one with... his early one with Goldie Hawn, which that was pretty impressive. Sugarland Express, I think, is that the one with she and... what's the guy's name? William Atherton. But that was pretty impressive for a low-budget movie. You're like, oh, I see why people throw Steven Spielberg tons of dough to make movies. He made a shit ton of, like, action out of this. Spielberg's filmography on here. Okay, I can look at it. Let's see, he directed an episode of Columbo. I've never said
that. The TV stuff.
Do you ever...
I was only looking at the...
Did you grow up with cable?
Yeah.
Me too. Did you ever have a friend or, like, relative that didn't have cable, and you ever had to, like, spend multiple days at their house, like, and see all the shit they watch on TV?
No, not that I can remember.
My cousins, like, I love my cousins. They're they're probably thankful they're not all that into TV, but you'd always go over to their house. They wouldn't have cable, and they would they'd have seen every episode of like the In the Heat of the Night TV show, or they'd actually watch Baywatch and shit, or like Hercules and Xena and shit. And like, what the fuck? Nobody watches this shit except for I've never met anybody that has watched a Reno Riggins or something. I don't know. I think it might have actually been on USA, but yeah, they watched all those. Let's see here. Okay, we got Jaws. Jaws was really good. I also was impressed by, only saw it recently, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But I think that's like kind of,
that's really good.
Seems like a one-timer. Like I have no desire to rewatch Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And then we got, the first Indiana Jones. That seems to stand out to me. I don't remember E.T. that well. I haven't seen that as an older person.
For some reason, I thought George Lucas did Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I think he co-wrote it and produced it. Yeah. I think Lawrence Kasdan, George Lucas, and Steven Spielberg basically just designed it around like a bunch of stunts and shit they'd always wanted to see. And then Temple of Doom is kind of the leftovers of that idea.
It's like it's done 6 movies.
Yeah, really gotta say it's
George
just...
Lucas.
Minority Report rate's pretty high on there. I would have to say so far, I gotta go with, if I'm picking just, gotta go Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jurassic Park, and what's the other one? Nah, that's good.
I've seen Jurassic Park, I've probably seen Jurassic Park at least 50 times. I used to get home from school and, I would just watch Jurassic Park, every day.
Jurassic Park is like one of the times at the movie theater I was just super blown away. It blew my fucking mind how good.
Well, when I went and saw Jurassic Park, when they released it in 3D, and at that point I'd already seen the movie so many times, and I still went and watched it in 3D, and it was still great. And but I don't know if that would be if I had to choose one Spielberg movie. I don't know, because if it's one movie that if I could only watch one Spielberg movie ever again, would be different than just saying if I could watch one Spielberg movie right now, what would it be? Because it's not the same answer. Munich's really good too. Munich's good.
I kind of enjoyed it upon revisiting.
I never finished Lincoln.
Lincoln's not bad. I was really bored by Lincoln, and then one time I gave it another shot in recent years, and it kind of won me over to where I was like, oh, you know what? I kind of liked Lincoln. I talked shit on it for many years, and then changed my mind. Empire of the Sun is kind of whatever, as I recall. Always. Have you ever seen the movie Always?
What?
That could be the worst of Spielberg. I've tried to watch that in 1941. Are some pretty rough to watch.
I didn't even see. Oh, there it is. Always. Look at this cast, though.
Yes.
My dad used to look like Richard Dreyfuss, but not so much anymore now that he's older.
He doesn't
Actually,
look like
they probably
Mr.
still look
Mr.
pretty
Holland.
similar. What?
Do you look like Mr. Holland?
My dad looks like. My dad looked like Richard Dreyfuss, not so much in Jaws, Richard Dreyfuss, but Mr. Holland's Opus, he used to always say that shit too. He was real cocky about it.
What did he say?
He was real cocky about the fact that he looked like Richard Dreyfuss. We went on a cruise. We went on a cruise in 2006, and we were going to. They were playing. They were playing the Rocky Horror Picture Show in the theater on the cruise, and is that Fry?
Yeah.
Killendorf's Tribe. Dreyfuss. What? Is that that's a
Dreyfuss movie?
No, but I don't know. I've never seen Killendorf's Tribe. If that's a Dreyfuss, I'm not a big Dreyfuss fan. Honestly,
no, I hate Dreyfuss.
But yeah, we were on a cruise, and we were in the elevator on the cruise, and we were going to see. They were playing what's that fucking movie? I just said the name of it. Rocky Horror Picture Show. They were playing Rocky Horror Picture Show on the cruise, and we got in the elevator, and this couple got in the elevator like in their 50s maybe, and I was like 16. And I'm with my dad, and the other dude in the elevator makes like some comment about like me like losing my virginity on the cruise. I felt like so awkward. But then I can't remember if it was the woman or the dude. They mentioned to my dad like, "Oh, like anybody ever told you look like Richard Dreyfuss?" And my dad like he looked so happy. Yeah, I think he was elated.
That story fizzled out.
Especially pointing it out in front of me.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna have a
like somebody mentioning it to him in front of me is I think is what made him so happy, because I knew who Richard Dreyfuss was. I'd seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind and seen Jaws, and I just never cared. I didn't give a shit. So like, I think somebody else pointing it out in front of me is what I think that was his favorite part of the trip, honestly.
Whoa. What's your favorite Richard Dreyfuss? What about Bob? Jaws?
My favorite Richard Dreyfuss movie?
I like W, where he's, what's his face, Dick Cheney. I liked him as Dick Cheney, actually, for some reason.
I never watched W. I watched Vice, but I didn't watch W.
I liked W much better.
More than Vice?
Yes. I didn't really care for Vice.
Vice was weird. I didn't pay much attention to it. I did like the scene in Vice where he shoots his buddy in the face.
Sure.
Just like how like on purpose they made a scene. Like for some reason it cracked me up. I actually clipped that scene and uploaded it to YouTube.
That guy that made Vice, he makes those Will Ferrell movies and stuff, and I like the Will Ferrell movies better that he does. Like, I don't know why. W, I think, is a funnier movie overall than Vice, and Vice is by a comedian, and W's by a not comedian.
Yeah, and W was Stone, right?
Yeah, but it's more of a lower budget Oliver Stone than you get with Nixon and stuff. It's Josh Brolin as W, and I liked it.
I think Oliver Stone's like kind of douchebag on sound like him. I like him.
All right, Josh, I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
First off, it's it's 420 coming up. We're gonna probably try to put this out on 420 if we can finish it in time. That's the birthday of one of our favorite, if not our favorite, historical figure. Do you remember whose birthday it is?
On 420?
Yes.
Is it Alexander Graham Bell?
No, it is Clint Howard.
No, I did not remember that.
Yes.
Hilarious.
So you've been fixing an espresso machine there.
Yeah,
How's that?
our espresso machine has given out.
Talk about your first world problems. I'm thinking about going out later and seeing if Walgreens has restocked Nescafe. How is so you're sad. I read and saw that Brian Dennehy had passed away.
Yes, I read that as well.
I think I heard about it not directly from you. You mentioned it knowing it, and I didn't know it when you texted me. And then it alerted me. But immediately, had I not known about it, the person I would have thought to ask about it would have been you.
Yes, and vice versa.
You're a resident Brian Dennehy expert, I think.
I want to see the last of the finest. It's a John McKenzie movie with Dennehy and Fahey and Paxton.
John Fahey? Jeff Fahey?
Jeff Fahey, yeah.
Wow.
Like vigilante cops.
Whoa. When is that from?
Like early 90s, 92-ish.
Wow. So that's actually a real movie, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow. What about, I'd like to see Teamster Boss, the Jackie Presser story.
Whoa.
That's a TV movie where he played Jackie Presser. Sounds kind of good.
Did a ton of TV movies. He's he's not. It's funny to me that he's so well regarded amongst other actors, but he did not have a great career.
Is he well regarded amongst other
I
actors?
feel like he is. Like when you see him, especially in his older years, with like other people he's co-starred with in interviews, done theater with, they're always like, he talks a lot, or they leave it to him to talk. Things.
Oh.
I feel like he's always like
Deferred to?
yeah. Maybe that's just
The most
maybe
I
they're
didn't.
just scared of him.
He looks like he worked right up until the end there, and he's been on that show, The Blacklist. My parents watched that.
Oh, he's on the blacklist. I did not know that.
The last thing I saw him in, I watched with you, which
Nine
was
Cups,
yes, in which I
Yes.
mean he looked very hale.
but still fat.
He looked as healthy as Richard Pryor in Lost Highway, or
Yeah.
Ben Gazzara in From
Yeah.
Paris with Love, or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
I appreciate him.
That's one of the saddest things I remember seeing that. I was like, oh man, Big Gazzara's not going to make it out of this movie.
No, yeah, like the big suspense of Night of Cups is whether or not they're going to have to Heath Ledger Brian Dennehy halfway through.
Yeah. Get Colin Farrell to play
Yeah.
Brian Dennehy.
And yet he made it another 5 years after the release of Night of Cups. So, he made it maybe 12 years after the shooting those scenes. Who knows?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's crazy. They got Dennehy to be in Once Upon a Time.
Oh, really?
Oh no, they should have.
Oh, yeah. They could have put him in the Burt Reynolds role.
Yeah, he would have been funny as that.
What's your favorite? Oh, if he wasn't in Django Unchained or Once Upon a Time, but he played a character named Django in both the video game and the film Ratatouille.
I did not know that. But that's hilarious.
He also played Kubla Khan in a 2007 TV movie of Marco Polo.
Whoa.
That sounds like a crazy one.
That sounds super crazy.
2 hour, 45-minute TV movie with Ian Somerhalder as Marco Polo.
Whoa.
Brian Dennehy, B.D. Wong as Pedro.
Mixing the race lines.
Yeah, they were like, you know what? We got the white man as Kubla Khan.
Who do we have just laying around?
Seems like maybe B.D. Wong could have been Kubla Khan, possibly there.
That's hilarious.
Oh, he was in She Hate Me. I've been meaning to rewatch that. I don't remember that.
That's right. He's in She Hate Me. That's right. I do remember that.
He could have easily been Edward Norton's dad in 25th Hour.
Yes.
The Brian.
Well, that's funny you say that, because I was thinking he could easily have been Edward Norton's dad in Pride and Glory instead of John Boyd.
Well, I've never seen that.
Oh, it's a piece of shit.
Growing up, the movies I would know him from were Gladiator with Cuba Gooding Jr. and FX2 was always on TV.
Yeah, both FX movies. Of course, I'm a huge fan of Gorky Park.
Yes, which is an excellent movie, but that you introduced me to, although the box had lured me many times, I never watched it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. Oh, it's one of my favorite boxes.
Yes.
The VHS days.
Yeah, we'll have to show it.
It's got the bloody hammer and sickle.
Yes.
Like the park.
Yes, it's got everything to entice a young man to almost rent it.
Yes, absolutely.
And then it's an excellent movie. Yeah, I didn't. I don't know if maybe. Well, every once in a while I see a movie and don't like it, and then I see it later and don't know what the hell was wrong with me. Like 3 Days of the Condor was like that, where I saw it and I didn't like it, and then I saw it last year, about a year ago, and was like, "This is an amazing movie."
Yeah. Oh yeah. You and I went back and forth from after you first saw Gorky Park.
Similar experience with Gorky Park, exactly.
Yeah.
I did not appreciate it.
I like how every scene is like leading to a punchline in some strange sort of way. Everybody wants to laugh at themselves.
This is a good noir.
Yeah. It's got some great side characters, like the guy who plays his partner who gets killed. I always liked that guy who didn't have a long career.
Ooh, who is that guy? Let's look him up real fast.
British guy. He's He's in With Nail and I, and he's in that Lars von Trier movie that I like called The Element of Crime.
Oh,
Which is a
I've
super
seen
weird
that.
movie. Yeah, not a very enjoyable movie. But are any of the Trier films?
Ooh, the movie poster for Gorky Park is kind of cool.
Yeah, like he's got all the good. Dennehy and
Ian Bannon?
No, Ian Bannon's the guy from.
Oh, I know who it is. Is it Richard Griffiths?
No,
Who is also in With Nail and I, right?
who's also in With Nail and I.
Yes. And did have a long career. Is also, rest in peace, old Richard Griffiths. What about Ian McDiarmid? That seems like he could be the guy. He's another big British actor that also I think is in a lot of things.
Might be.
There's
Might
Ian
be.
Bannon.
Ian
Bannon. Michael Elphick. Rick.
You'll recognize him. He's got a round face.
Ian McDiarmid is more of a sharp-featured guy, kind of in the mold of Gielgud or something to
Oh,
me.
you know what? I guess I could just pull
Alexei Sale, Alexander Knox,
of crime off the wall here and see if I can.
Michael Elphick looks like he's one of the guys from Element of Crime. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It's Michael Elphick. He's in a ton of British TV.
Yeah.
That's what he's mostly in.
See, and I think that's the thing about Dennehy. I think he did a lot of more theater than we probably realize.
Maybe he's in just a trillion things, though. Really working. The actor that, another actor you enjoy, I think, that he reminds me of is Brian Keith.
Yes, I love me some Brian Keith. Keith is great. I tried to show Randon
To Win in the Lion.
and I don't think she was impressed by it.
Would you cast Brian Dennehy as Teddy Roosevelt?
Whoa. Maybe not before I cast Tom Berenger.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I just really like that movie, the Tom Berenger TV movie of the Rough Riders.
Rough Riders, yeah.
I think it's a very entertaining TV movie.
Yeah. It's a Walter Hill movie, right?
It's either a Walter Hill or John Milius. I think it is a Walter Hill, maybe. I'll look it up really
you know
fast just for...
I think you're right. I think it's a John Milius.
Okay, I won't look it up then. If I'm wrong, let's let it roll, or I'll find it in editing.
That's got to be someone who's close to the...
Let's look at John Milius and see what he looks like in 2020 and determine
Because
if he's going to die.
He had a stroke
Oh, no, that's bad.
several years ago, right before.
The Red Dawn remake?
Oh yeah, it was definitely before the Red Dawn remake.
Okay, do you think he saw the movie and that's what caused it, or?
He had remember they did a documentary on Milius.
Yes, I never watched it, always meant to.
It was pretty... Hold on 1 second now.
Yes.
Sorry, this package arriving.
It's alright. Dude, I'm looking at John Milius allegedly in like 2019, and I can't say as he doesn't look like he couldn't live another 1,000 years. He's looking fat and happy here. Who knows? I mean, if I was betting in a dead pool, though, other than heart attack, he doesn't look sickly to me here. He looks like he's very alive.
That's good. I know in the
Yeah, it's him at the Lionsgate final cut shit. Yeah, it's like, man, he looks pretty good.
I know in the documentary, I think he lost, because of the stroke, he lost the ability to talk.
Oh, well, that happens. It's a massive thing that happens when you get the stroke.
This is really pretty.
What'd you get?
It's a picture frame for a picture of Brandon's brother.
Oh, how nice. What kind of picture frame you got there?
I can send you a picture. It's it's kind of a brushed silver, and it's got a like